Welcome to the light, and we're going to be covering a very difficult case. So I want to give a warning about the content right now. There is going to be incredibly difficult content to hear. It will get graphic because we are going to be reading the formal complaint and the arrest affidavit. And this is in regards to three boys who are aged 12, 13, and 15 years old out of the Miami-Dade area in Florida who are being charged as adults, which is why we are hearing about this case now, in the sexual assault and rape of a 12-year-old girl. The details are graphic. The details are unsettling. And the details are horrific. If you do not want to listen, I completely understand. Please scroll away. But I want to give that disclosure before we have a discussion about this case and some further details that are going to come to light. The incident took place in June of 2025. We're hearing about it now in 2026 because a grand jury trial was had and it was determined that all three boys, as of right now, will be charged as adults. So, no longer having these documents sealed as minors opens up this case to be unsealed and all of this information released because the charges were upgraded. Otherwise, a typical case where you have a 12, 13, and 15-year-old, we would not see their photos or have all of their information of their names. A criminal complaint and these details would be completely sealed to protect them as they are minors. So let's get into the details. I'm going to read exactly from the complaint, the arrest affidavit. I will leave up the photo with the names so that you can familiarize yourself. They are all defendants in this case: Nelson Nunez, Josiah Jones, and Xavier Tyson. Xavier Tyson, as I will inform you later on, has yet to really be in formal custody. Nelson Nunez and Josiah Jones have been the ones currently appearing before court. All felony charges. We have sexual battery by a minor on a minor. There is kidnapping, there is battery aggravated, and there is false imprisonment. Now, some of those are interchangeable depending on the defendant. The victim is a 12-year-old female. The defendant is a 13-year-old male. The victim and defendant are acquaintances. On Thursday, June 19th, 2025, at approximately 14:41 hours, Officer C. Cal contacted me via landline in reference to a possible sexual battery incident. He stated that he was flagged down at an address that I'm going to redact, where a witness advised him that her neighbor, who is the victim, was possibly sexually assaulted by four juveniles the day before, which was June 18th, 2025. Prior to my arrival, Officer Cal advised me that witness number one was detained on scene. I arrived on scene and conducted an audio recorded statement of the victim, who stated the following. On Wednesday, June 18th, 2025, at approximately 10 p.m., after leaving her friend's house, she saw the defendant, the two co-defendants, and witness number one outside in the parking lot area. She stated that the defendant grabbed her and took her to this address, which is known as the Green Haven Project. It is essentially, we'll refer to it as the Gardens, which is described as a community garden. She stated that she was screaming while the defendant took her to a couch inside of the garden. Witness number one and co-defendants all followed. Upon arriving to the couch, she stated that Josiah and Xavier held her by the arms and legs, preventing her from leaving. Josiah then put rocks in her mouth in an attempt to stop her from screaming. Nelson then removed her pants and underwear and proceeded to penetrate her by having P/V intercourse with her without her consent in front of Josiah and Xavier. She stated that the incident lasted about 30 minutes as she continuously screamed and was telling him to stop. The witness was present but did not participate in the incident. The victim stated that Nelson finally stopped when they heard her father calling her name, at which point Nelson, Josiah, and Xavier and the witness all ran towards the opposite direction of the sound of the victim's father's voice. While on scene, Nelson returned on a bicycle. The victim identified him by pointing him out to the officers. He was detained and transported to the Special Victims Unit office for formal questioning. Mr. Jorge Palacio of the Greenhaven Project provided consent to process the scene of the incident. Crime scene detective responded and processed the scene. While on scene, Josiah walked out of his apartment, to which the victim pointed him out and identified him. He was detained and transported to the City of Miami Police Station for further questioning. At approximately 6:39 p.m., I conducted an audio recorded statement of witness number 1 in the presence of his father. The witness stated that on Wednesday, June 18th, Nelson, Josiah, and Xavier observed the victim leaving a street and gave her wedgies, but he did not participate. Nelson then held her and took her to the garden while she attempted to free herself from him. After arriving to the incident location, the witness stated that Josiah exposed the victim's breasts and was caressing them. Nelson asked if he should stick it, his pee, in her, to which Xavier said, yeah. Josiah then put rocks in the victim's mouth to prevent her from screaming and yelling. Then Nelson proceeded to remove the victim's pants and proceeded to have P/V intercourse with her. The witness stated that he did not participate in the incident and did not intervene because he was outnumbered and was afraid of getting beat up. At approximately 6:46 p.m., Sergeant Vasquez conducted a sworn audio recorded statement of, I will redact her name, who's going to be referred to as witness number 2. I will refer to her as a neighbor. It will just keep it simple. The neighbor stated that on June 18th, 2025, between the hours of 10 to 10:30 p.m., she was picking up her mail and heard a female screaming, "Stop. No, I'm not playing. I'm not playing." The neighbor then walked upstairs and shouted, "Hey, who is screaming?" The neighbor stated she got no response, and shortly after she observed an acquaintance of hers yelling his daughter's name, who was the victim. The male then asked the neighbor if she had seen his daughter, and she told him she had not. Now, according to the neighbor, the victim then came out running from the garden, which is the fenced-in field, through an opening on the fence as her father was yelling her name. The neighbor further stated that the victim was fixing her shorts by pulling on the strings. She then observed a boy she knows as Xavier walk out of the garden through the same opening on the fence the victim walked out of. The neighbor stated that Xavier made eye contact with her and walked away. She then observed another boy whose name that she references, who is known as witness number 1, who I stated before. And then Nelson, the defendant, also walked out of the garden. She stated that the witness looked scared, as if something bad happened. She questioned the witness, and he said nothing happened. Later on, she asked her own son, who is going to be known as Witness 3, to contact Witness 1 and ask him about what had transpired. Witness 1 then contacted Witness 3 via cell phone and stated, "What your mama seen, it wasn't like that." Witness 1 then tells Witness 3 that Xavier pulled down the victim's bra as the victim was yelling to stop and proceeded to play with her breasts while holding her hands. Nelson then asked Xavier, "You think I should put it in?" And Xavier responded, "Yeah," and Nelson proceeded to insert his P into the victim's V. The victim began to yell, no, stop, it hurts." And while she was yelling, Josiah put rocks inside her mouth, who they also refer to as J, I guess. That's what they wrote here. Inside her mouth to shut her up. Once they were done, Nelson stated, "You guys can let her go." The neighbor provided a partial recording of the phone conversation between her son and witness one, which does corroborate the story. The neighbor was shown single photos of Nelson, Josiah, and Xavier, and she positively identified them, signed and dated the photos. I still have a little bit more to go in this complaint, as well as to more to go into regarding the case, statements from the family, etc. As this has already gotten long and I don't want to lose my video, because that happens when my video go too long on TikTok, I will cut it short here for part 1, and I will see you over in part 2. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, please make sure that you are following me. Tap that heart button. Be safe, be kind to one another, and as always, I will see you all in the next one.